Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Saurabh. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today evening, sir. I'm really feeling privileged and to have you in this show. And you are such an inspiring person. So guys, thank you so much for joining today evening. So we have a really great person with us today here. And his life story, you see his life story when he's going to tell us about it. It's very very inspiring. So you must watch his TED talk. He talks about how he was into a very high paying job with a cosmetic industry, and then he was not very happy with it, and then he quit his job and became assistant librarian in Bombay Natural History Society. That's amazing. It's such an inspiring story, and from there he retired as a deputy director of Bombay Natural History Society. That's amazing. And he has authored so many books and studied so much about butterflies that he is known as the butterfly man of India. That's great. That's just amazing. So presently, he's the chairman and director of iNATUREWATCH Foundation, Navi, Mumbai, and
Yes.
uh, and yeah, he has done a lot of books, and the best-selling book definitely is of his book on butterflies of India, field guide. So I welcome you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today evening. It's a great honor and privilege to have you here. And yeah, please tell us a little bit about your life story as a naturalist.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Saurabh, for inviting me. And it's my pleasure too to be with people because I love to be with people, share what I have. Because that's very important. You need to share with people and let people, do something. And I love to encourage more. A lot of youngsters I like to encourage because that's what I feel is the need of the hour. Of course, I grew up in the suburbs of Mumbai. My parents both were born and brought up here in Mumbai itself. They got educated, both my parents. And I also grew up in Mumbai. And it was more, Mumbai was not like that, what it was there. And there was no internet, no television. So, you can see the rice fields grew. And I grew up, and Mumbai is based, as on the shores of, the Arabian Sea. So obviously you have a lot of creeks and so fisher folks. I grew up among the fisher folks of Mumbai. And this rainy season was my favorite season, because, that's every time, every day it was almost going out, catching fish, crabs. And that's how I even tried to catch snake. That was wrong of me, but I did dare to do that,
Okay.
which I realized that little knowledge is dangerous. I almost caught a venomous snake and almost could have died actually. I caught a crate in the night. I don't know how I survived that. I luckily didn't bit me, so that possibly was my luck. And that was where I grew up. But that era was different. When the rice fields were there, they used to cut the rice fields. They used to play cricket there in the dry rice fields, every then till the next rainy season, and used to catch fish. But my father actually encouraged me. A lot of, like, my parents actually, they encouraged me to give pets at home. We had a cottage, so I had a lot of chicken, ducks, dogs, cats, even a monkey also I kept, which we should not actually.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, monkey, it doesn't make an ideal pet, unfortunately. So that I'll realize later. But yes, and that's the time my father actually, and keeping pets is very important because that actually tells you how to take responsibilities. The cats, they're alive animals and living beings. Take care, and also loss of life. You lose a lot of loved ones. A lot of loved ones, pet dies, and that's how you learn to take up your losses in your life also. And that's the time I was in uh, 8th standard when my father presented me with a camera, Ensign camera. It's a box camera, a black and white camera.
Right.
And since then, I have never left a camera, you know. And I today also I tell a lot of parents that you encourage children into healthy hobbies like photography. Photography is very healthy hobby. You can do anything, not in nature,
Right.
everything. You can do a lot of, be creative. And today, of course, your mobile has come into hand. Mobile is an excellent camera, so that's, everybody has it now. But that time, that was having a camera was a luxury, and unfortunately I had it. And since then I've been photographing my pets, my relatives, my aunts used to come, and I photograph them. But and then gradually, after that, um, after graduation, of course, I got a opportunity to work with a corporate house selling cosmetics there, as you told me, as in the TED talk I had spoken about this. But I was not comfortable with this corporate atmosphere. Something was me, that I was a misfit there. And when I got an opportunity to work with BNHS, I just told my mother. okay, I'm quitting the job. And she was very upset. She said, nobody will marry you. So, but my father said, you let him go, let him be happy first, because, you know, getting money is no issues actually, but let him follow his heart. And I think that was very prophetic. And what
Right.
it and they, my parents, actually, I'm thanking them that they allowed me to follow my heart. And what I am today, I found myself actually, joining BNHS, where I found the like-minded people, and Salim Ali people, icons, great icons I could meet. I saw them working, the ideals, their kind of dedication is something rare to see actually sometimes in real life. But there I could observe them, see. So that was my, these were my ideals actually. And I never, I saw Salim Ali working on his books, and that almost most of the books he had finished then, but some he used to always come there. He was the president of BNHS, but I never dared to actually talk to him because I was just a newcomer then. But I used to observe him, and he was so particular. So that was inspired. I never, but that time I never inspired. Okay, one day I'll also write a book. I never inspired, but books just happened there. I was encouraged to write in the BNHS magazine Hornbill, and then Bittu Sehgal launched his Sanctuary magazine, and that's the time actually he commissioned me to write a story actually on butterflies. And I was wondering what should I write, and then I thought of a common mormon. Common mormon is an ordinary butterfly, that comes in every garden. You'll see actually it's very common all over India, but it has got a very complex life. It has got its females occurring in 3 different forms, and you have it has got a lot of adaptation to protect itself against, and it has got a caterpillar that looks like a bird dropping, and birds don't see it because it looks like a bird dropping, and then it has got a special organ that to repel insect attack, and then it mimics, the female mimics 2 distasteful species. So that kind of complex lifestyle. So I wrote a story on that, and that caught eye of the WWF, Worldwide Fund for Nature, and they approached me with a small booklet which is already written by an Englishman called Thomas Gay. And when he said, "You can you work on this, because that was a butterflies of Western Ghats, Sahyadris." So he said, "Can you?" So I read the book and the booklet, and I said, "But the problem is, in this book, it is all how to catch butterflies, how to kill them, how to pin them."
Oh
I
my
said,
God.
"This is not an age to do that." I said, and imagine World Wildlife Fund publishing a book on how to catch them and how to kill them. It's blasphemy. I said. So I said, let's replace these chapters with how to photograph them, how to watch them. And the first time I brought the butterfly gardening actually, and let's garden for how to attract butterflies on your doorstep, on your
Wow.
windowsills. So that I replaced all those chapters of killing and catching. And I wrote with Thomas Gay. He was an Englishman, and he said, see, he was very old actually, and he said, see, I've written my book, the small booklet, and it was lying with BNHS for so many years. They didn't bother to publish. Then it came to WWF. They also were thinking of throwing it out, but then finally they approached me. So we said, okay, we'll do it. And he was very happy, and it was published. So that was the first book I did. And that was the first book, first Winterfly I did in 1957. After that, there was no book on butterflies. Everybody was after birds, and Salim Ali was there. And, there was hardly there was something on butterflies. And this book caught
Right.
attention of everybody. It became a bestseller, actually. It was a very low price
Wow.
book by WWF. And that caught attention. And later on, then I started writing, Sanctuary magazine, coming of Sanctuary magazine had provided platform, of, for youngsters like me to write. So that is very important to have such platforms, especially. And
Great.
then onwards, BNHS, then BNHS said, you written a book for WWF, World Wildlife Fund. Why not BNHS? You are our guy. You should write first for us. And then I started writing for the bigger book. And that took me really 10 years to write. But that
Wow.
showed me India, that showed me India, how beautiful our country is, how vivid, so beautiful, diverse. Right from my doorstep, I traveled to Ladakh, to Arunachal Pradesh, to Lakshadweep, and to Andaman Islands. So this was something, a journey which butterfly showed me India, how beautiful our country is.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I have done little bit of butterfly photography, and I know how difficult it is. In fact, you were talking in your TED talk that you went all the way to this village in Spiti Valley, and you were
Yeah,
running after that butterfly, and finally you were not able to
yeah.
photograph it, and then again,
I
and
know.
then right, and then later you found it on Khardungla Pass. It was
Yes,
fortunately it
yes.
was sitting, and you were able to. So how do you approach a butterfly? It is so difficult.
Yeah, actually, butterflies are not that difficult, but of course, you need, and any wildlife photography. I say you have to be crazy first of all. For chasing and photographing, many of the wildlife photographers are really crazy. And any topic you take, you will not succeed unless you're crazy. You are just after day and night, and time doesn't matter. And and you ought to have a lot of tons of patience for it. So you
Right.
slowly develop that kind of approach by waiting slowly, patient, and you have to behave like a lizard, like 2 steps ahead and 1 step behind, 2 steps. So slowly approach, and get the butterfly in the frame. And of course, you have to have a right equipment, because when I started, I didn't have much good camera. I started with Minolta SRT 101 film, and we had this Ektachrome and Kodachrome that time.
Right.
And with macro, I didn't have macros were expensive, and that time the market wasn't open, so we used to go to smuggled lenses. So we used to go to these shady shops in Mumbai and try to get these second hand lenses or some smuggled lenses. So that was
Right.
a time. It was different times actually.
Right.
But getting a good lenses was difficult. From then, my salary was not very good in BNHS, so I couldn't afford a macro lens then. So I had to have 2x converter, and I tried somehow. So we started, and I think first photograph I took of butterflies was lemon pansy.
Okay. So then, so where did you gather all the information from that you have with you?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
is it
Actually,
from the books or?
yeah. Actually, when I was BNHS asked me that why don't you do a better book on the butterflies of India? You've done a small book, but I think we should do a better book. I said okay, but I can very well sit in BNHS library, and I was in charge of the library then, and there are so many books on butterflies. Right from the 1800 book. When English people wrote books on butterflies of India, all those books are there. I could really sat in the library and done a book. But I didn't want to do that kind of stuff, like sitting in the library and copy here, copy there. This was so easy. Of course, I referred those books, but I said unless and until I see these butterflies, I want to experience them. And when I go to places, unless I see unless I photograph a butterfly, that is not my accomplishment. Just seeing a butterfly is not enough. I just won't ticket. I have to get them in my camera, on my film. Then I see it actually. So that was actually, and that actually, then I said I have to travel, I have to see, and I started traveling, different parts of India, and then even my job later on involved with traveling, and that brought me to different places. And India is so diverse, every place like go and butterflies are very, very fussy. In a sense, they are very, very particular about their weather, the climate, temperature, humidity, and habitat. Moment that things changes, they will just leave the place. It's like that. And that is very important. Today, scientists are studying butterflies because of this, because the very reason because they're fussy. They don't tolerate any fluctuation. So that was how I traveled all over India. And then you'll be surprised, now I don't go to foreign countries for chasing butterflies. Even I've been to Africa and US, but it didn't fascinate me somehow. The kind of diversity we have, my God, it's amazing.
So I can't wait to go through your pictures, and then maybe I'll ask you a few questions on them. Okay?
Yeah.
So let us start with the pictures, and then
yeah, sure.
in between I'll ask you a few questions.
Sure.
Them.
Yeah.
So yeah, please tell us about this very strange.
Actually, that's a moon moth. It's a very beautiful moth actually. Of course, chasing butterflies, I have also chased moth, because I'm a basic nature love. Everything in nature, it's from the elephant, rhino, or you talk about small insects, everything fascinates me. But then you have to, when you're approaching a subject, how to dramatize it actually. Like if I taken a flat photo from behind, it looks nice, but then a head-on shot with the macro, and this antenna, this moth has got a feathery antenna, special antenna. Actually, why this antenna is because this antenna, it helps the moth to detect a female. She could be, 2 kilometers away from him, but he can detect her presence and he will fly towards her like a guided missile. It will fly toward. So another thing about nature photography is that you ought to know about the natural history of your subject.
Right.
Because if you don't know, a lot of people just pick up a camera and go in the wild and they okay, nature photo. But that is, I feel, if you're really working or you want to tell a story about, you have to really know the natural history of the subject. I remember when Bittu Saigal was doing his, they had done Bittu Saigal Sanctuary Films had done a series, Krakshak, and on Tiger's story had done a episode for about 13 or 14 episodes on Doordarshan. And they had hired a cameraman from Film Institute, a good cameraman, Ace. And he was sent to Ranthambore, and he was sent to Bharatpur and Dudhwa, other places, Corbett National Park. And when he came back, he got tons of raw footage, used like that time there was no digital, so it was all films. It was expensive films, and he shot thousands of feet of these films. He brought it. What he got? Deer coming, deer going, drinking water. Actually, he was a good photographer, but he didn't know what to pick. He didn't know what is the behavior of animal, what is the shot. So finally, in natural history, actually, you are the photographer is a storyteller. He's a director, he's a writer. So he's all in one. And that's why if you know the natural history of the subject, then you will be able to depict a image much better, and you can dramatize it. Another thing is that your picture has to be telling, actually, a story. And I have actually, see, I don't compete in like, I'm not artistic photography. I mean, I don't do artistic photography, or I don't do black other stuff. Like, I actually use camera as an instrument to tell my story. Actually, it's an instrument for me to tell my
Right.
story
Right.
and depict and share my the passion which I have for nature. So
Right.
this is how the moon moth, and you'll be surprised. This moon moth is, they don't have stomach. Their life is only after they hatch from the cocoon. They have got life is just few days, maybe 7 or 8 days. So 8 days mein kya karenge? What they'll do?
Mm.
So they don't have stomach, because imagine we eat in the morning, we eat in the afternoon, we eat in the evening. You can, given a chance, we eat in the night also. So this moth doesn't have the time. So nature has removed the stomach, and this has only one mission: to find its mate, reproduce, and perish. That's
Okay.
a amazing story.
So, sir, suppose somebody wants to become a butterfly photographer. So, how much time? What are the steps that one need to take apart from getting a good control over the camera? So, how does one get started about
Yeah,
this?
yeah. Basically, fortunately, today social media is very good at it, actually, and we have several groups on Facebook. Really, if you go to see Facebook, we have more than 30 groups of butterflies, and there are excellent photographers on Facebook, and international groups are also there, and their photography groups are also there. So you have so much to learn from these groups. And there are experts are there sitting on there who will guide you. So I would say, first is to join these groups. You know, and it's like, you have so many people talking about photography. There are so much of guidance available, and the equipment is easily available. So first is to join these groups, and then start. And these butterfly groups also meet. We have butterfly meets every year. Like this March, before the COVID thing started, I was in Arunachal Pradesh. We had a butterfly meet, and people from Kerala, from Bangalore, and from Calcutta, they had come to Arunachal Pradesh, and we
Right.
had lovely meet there. And there we exchange, we guide people what to do, how to approach, what can be, and then career guidance also, how they can do careers in butterfly. So butterfly photography you start with, and then you should have a right equipment. That is another important. Luckily, of course, people start photography with even mobile, or today some of the mobiles are very good. Of course, their sensor is not as good as a DSLR. Of course, you can't compare the photography you do with a SLR camera with the or mobile, but still you can see the results are okay to see. Yeah. So another thing is, once they start joining this group, they get inspired, and then slowly go into local, around your house. You can explore. You can see a lot of butterflies around your house itself. Maybe a lot of people say, "Yeah, I didn't know so many butterflies existed around my
Right.
house."
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So
great. So, when you go out shooting or observing these, so what is your ratio? Suppose I'm going for a trip for maybe 3 hours, I'm going out in the forest. So, how much time will you actually spend taking pictures, and how much time will you spend observing them to learn about their behavior?
yeah, actually, you'll be surprised. It is not my time. Actually, it is their time. Their time. They will
Right.
be available at their time. So you have to see when the butterflies are most active. So I know that they are active right from around 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. The best time is 8 o'clock. So I have to be there at that time, and I have to invest my time there, and accordingly then basically, butterflies, their behavior is that, especially the low temperatures, they bask, and they are cold-blooded animals. So they will not easily fly if the temperatures are low. So they allow you to approach. That's the time. So best time is when the mornings are cooler and the sun has not risen, or some cloudy mornings are there. So that time is the best time. The light is good, the even light with the clouds. So you can get around that time is the best time for butterflies. And then you should know the tricks. So all butterflies don't come on flowers. Some come on dead crabs, dead animals, even on your own sweat, urine, dung, on animal dung, sweat.
Right. Right.
So there are amazing, lifestyles the butterflies live. So slowly learn. But best thing is to join these butterfly groups, because that's where you get to know all this, and you can see the pictures and get
Right.
an idea. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how I plan. But naturalistic again is that you'll be often get disappointed. Like I've been, I know this moon moth. I got it after something like 7 or 8 years actually. It's not this photograph I
Wow.
got it for, yeah, 7 or 8 years. So I keep on going, keep on going. Sometimes people go at the first morning, they go and they get it. And I never got it. This is found in the National Park of Mumbai's Sanjay Gandhi National Park. And it is found there. But I have to be there because their lives uh, is very short. It's just 8 days. And you have to get
Wow.
them during that time. So and in nature, you know sometimes you have to get empty-handed. Nature photography, you go there for certain, you get nothing, and you come out. But you have to be
Right.
persistent, keep on going again and again, and you will get it. So
Right.
that's very important. Yeah, this is the very beautiful butterfly, but it's sitting on a crab, dead crab actually, not on
Right.
flower. Yeah, because many of these butterflies they require nitrates. So that is what. So I said, you know the natural history of butterflies. Where I first saw this dead crab lying, I was waiting there. I said something will come besides flies. So finally, this butterfly arrived, and I could click them. And once they're on that, like especially, and you'll be surprised, some butterflies are amazingly alcoholics, especially.
Okay.
Yeah, especially, but not on rum or whiskey. But basically, they go for this rotting or overripe fruits, because that overripe and rotting fruits actually ooze a very mild alcohol, and that is very a high speed fuel for them. So a lot of butterflies come for that, especially a rotten banana or a rotten pineapple. My God, and even this jackfruit. I've been to Samilan Shetty's butterfly. There's a rotten pineapple or a jackfruit just kept, and butterflies go crazy over it. So once you know all these tricks, you will slowly start, getting your pictures and accordingly and depicting the natural history and their behavior, and they fight also. They are territorial also. So that kind of,
Okay.
yeah, wonderful stories you can weave
Okay.
around. Yeah.
So, sir, when you are taking a picture like this, how close do you suggest to go to a
This is
butterfly?
the macro. This is a macro shot actually with a 100 macro Nikon
Okay.
105 macro shot. Actually, I was
Yeah.
using Minolta first, Minolta camera, but then Minolta, unfortunately, and that's a Maxim camera. I had the autofocus Maxim camera also, but then Minolta stopped. Minolta company got busted, so then I shifted to Nikon. So now I got a D 850, and my actually my this. My gear is this, a flash, a macro lens, 180 macro lens, and a body. This is only what you require for a macro photography, for butterfly photography, nothing else. This
Okay.
three,
What lens is that, sir?
that is 180, 180,
180.
180. Yeah, this is Sigma actually, but you get other Tokina, even original Nikon
Okay.
also. But
Okay.
this is Sigma.
Okay. So my question to you, sir, is how close can you go to a
Yeah,
butterfly without
yeah, yeah,
disturbing it?
yeah. Correct. That's very important. You are the very important question because you can't take liberties, and many times you are so greedy. Sometimes you rush. Don't rush. When you see a butterfly, possibly at a distance, possibly if you have a longer lens, you can take shots from longer distance also. But for if your macro lens is small or your lens is smaller, then you have to go closer. So you have to go very closely, one step at a time, slowly, and don't. And if you're in a group, let one person go with a longer lens first and a shorter lens later. So that slowly go, and you might be able to reach almost close enough. But you have to very slow. Sudden rush will scare away the butterfly because they can sense that that change of the air pressure, they can sense it. So you have to be very careful about that. And
Right.
once they are on the favorite foodstuff, like a rotting guava or a banana, then they will not move. You can even almost touch them almost, and they will not move.
Okay. Okay. Great. So,
Yeah,
would you advise to go in a group, or do you suggest to go in smaller groups like they do in bird
yeah.
photography?
Actually, smaller groups are better because But I've seen and I've been going with my friends. Some guys are so anxious and greedy. I would say that they would leave the group and they'll go first because they want to get the first shot. But then
Yeah.
always got to go in group because what happens, then you have so many eyes to watch. If
Right.
you're alone, you might
Right.
be. If you're alone, you might get the best shot. You can spend a lot of time. Maybe a couple of friends or two on threes also is good. But then you have more people, but not more because we have got too many people. Then rushing around and rushing around for one small butterfly, it'll possibly scare away the butterfly and you lose the thing. So I
Right.
would say larger groups, maybe in twos and threes and fours at the most is good enough. And rather than single, you should go in groups because then you have got so many eyes to watch around. Yeah, that's important.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you are with a friend, and then of course you have to know that all flowers don't attract butterflies. There
Okay.
are flowers are are made for the pollinators. They're made for each other. They're tailor made for each other. So there are bat flowers that bloom in the evening or night. There are bird flowers, big bird flowers. There are bee flowers. There are fly flowers which stink, and there are butterfly flowers. So, you should know what are the flowers which attract butterflies. Not all flowers attract. Roses, dahlias, chrysanthemums don't attract butterflies. The flowers are beautiful, gorgeous, but they don't attract butterflies. They attract honeybees and flies, but not and so I was in Valley of Flowers, and you'll be surprised that I hardly saw a butterfly there.
Okay.
So much of different kinds of an array of flowers there, but not a single butterfly in Valley of Flowers. So that is because those flowers are all fly flowers or bee flowers, but not
Okay.
butterfly flowers. So that is also important.
So,
Yeah.
what are the different hotspots of doing butterfly photography in India? I remember you mentioned the northeast
Yes,
part of
yes,
India.
yes, yes, yes. Of course, in the entire India, Northeast is a mecca for butterflies. Actually, right from Sikkim onwards, West Bengal, as you go up towards Dors and you're up on the hills towards Darjeeling and then Kalimpong, and then you go up in Alipurdwar, and then you go up to Sikkim. Sikkim is another small state, but full of butterflies. It's a very small state and excellent. And then as you go towards Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, it's an amazing area. Even 900 species. See, we got about 1,324, 25 species are there in India. So out of that, 900 species itself, they're found in the Northeast. You can imagine the
Wow.
richness. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we have the Western Ghats. The Western Ghats right from south of Gujarat, from Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, a bit of Tamil Nadu. So that is again a rich area. And some butterflies which are found in the Western Ghats are found nowhere else in the world. They're endemic to that region only. So some of these you should know geography, and you'll be surprised. I learned my geography. I did actually my graduation is in political science and psychology, but I learned my botany with butterflies, because butterflies lay eggs only on certain plants only of the family. Like this lime butterfly will lay eggs on lemon and allied plants to lemon. So that family is called Rutaceae. You ask a botanist, what is the common between kadi patta and lemon? The botanist will say Rutaceae family. And this butterfly, the lime butterfly, will lay only on Rutaceae family only, and never on coriander or potato. Never. They are the best botanists. And I'd learned geography, geography of India, geography, and then the weather I learned. So all these are you learn as a photographer. But as a photographer also, you have to learn you have to see when it's going to rain in that area. If you're planning a trip, you have to very well take care of the weather there, because if you go to Arunachal and rains like dogs and cats, my God, you're stuck. So
Right.
8 days you are there and just is raining like continuously, and you just can't go. You can imagine, you can come all the way from Mumbai and you're Arunachal, you spend a lot of money, and then it's raining there and you're stuck. So you have to see the weather. So all that thing is a plan trip also. So this actually taught me a lot of geography, weather, and a lot of botany and zoology, which I never did in college.
Right. So, is there any hotspot around Mumbai or in the
Yeah,
city?
yeah,
Is it
yeah, yeah. Mumbai, of course, Mumbai is a part of Western Ghats actually. We are part of the Western Ghats. So we have
right?
this Sanjay Gandhi National Park, which has
Right.
got about 100 and nearly 160 species of butterflies. So there itself, and now I'm in Navi Mumbai. Navi Mumbai is also very good because Navi Mumbai has got a lot of hills, and a lot of vegetation is still there, and we get a lot of butterflies here also, and we have mangroves also here. So we have got some of the species we have found in the mangrove region. So that makes Mumbai is still very good. One of the areas which are still green are very good for butterflies. So Sanjay Gandhi National Park is the best place to see butterflies in Mumbai, and plus in Navi Mumbai there are the Khargar Hills are there, and the
Right.
mangroves
Right.
around you can explore for butterflies. Yes.
Right. Right. Great. Yeah. Please tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, some of these butterflies, now talking about color, butterflies actually have two types of colors. One is the real color, like you have this color, red color, you see it's a color. But some of those glistening colors, all the greens and the blues you see are not real colors, they're structural colors. So you'll see at the angle you take. So when you are using a flash, you have to see that you get a proper colors, to pick out those colors out of it. Otherwise, sometimes the pictures become flat and you lose those colors. So that's also important. Those colors don't exist. Those colors are caused by the light you are using, or by the sunlight or other sources. So that, and this color actually in nature is a warning color. Actually for us it's very beautiful, but show it to a bird and the bird will say yuck. Why? Because these are warning colors, and this butterfly is distasteful. Birds don't touch it. They have done it once and made a mistake, because when
Okay.
this butterfly, when it was a caterpillar, it has fed on a poisonous plants. It can not only digest the poison, but it has assimilated those poison in the body, and though that poison is still present in the adult body also. And this is the presence of this poison is indicated by the warning colors. And birds soon learn if you eat this butterfly, you are going to have a bad stomach. and they keep off from this, brightly colored butterflies. But all butterflies can't do that kind of, adaptation of digesting poison. But they have evolved to look like these butterflies, and they escape being eaten by the birds. So that's adaptation. So that's
Great.
the common rose, and common rose are migratory. They migrate from different areas, different season. You'll be surprised that crimson rose butterfly, like the common rose, migrates from Kanyakumari to Sri Lanka, non-stop flight over the sea. And there are
Wow.
butterflies which fly from Himalayas to foothills. In the winter, it becomes very cold there up in the hills, so they come down and they'll go back. Even Mumbai, when butterfly blue mormon comes to Mumbai, it stays for 4 months and goes back in the hills. But what goes back is not the same butterfly.
Wow.
It is the third or fourth generation. So the migration, all this, a photographer has to learn all that. It is not
Right.
just because unless you get
Right.
involved in the subject, you will not able to tell a story. And
Right.
I am a photographer, which I feel that you have to tell a story to how to tell a story to people and share your story. That's very important in
Right.
using photography as a tool. Yeah.
Right. So, sir, presently you are the chairman and director of iNATUREWATCH
Yes. Yes.
Foundation.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
please tell us a little bit about your role and what
Right.
you are doing, what activities you are doing.
Yeah, iNATUREWATCH Foundation is a non-government organization. It's a non-profit organization registered as NGO, and we are doing so. Besides awareness in the local New Bombay area, we do a lot of awareness in the schools, colleges, and now we have done projects. Like we are doing a project in Navi Mumbai. There is a hillock here, a small hill, which is almost denuded. It was become total barren. So luckily we got a sponsor, and now in the this lockdown also we are managing to go in some days and have started replantation, plantation, the forest that was before, we are trying to bring back the forest. And in Hyderabad, we have done a lake in Nizampet, which was almost died. We brought back the lake, we brought back the birds, we brought back the butterflies. So that and we have got another project because success of that project, we got another
Wow.
lake also in Hyderabad. So that kind of work we are doing, and we are also publishing books like the Moths of India. It's the first book, pictorial book, Dr. Shubhalakshmi wrote, and that was published under the Birdwing publisher. That is also part of our company. That is a Ladybird. Ladybird is also a sister company of iNATUREWATCH, but that's a company, and iNATUREWATCH is an NGO. So we do basically awareness programs. That is the need of the hour, basically, and reaching out to people and see what we can do. And we do a lot of work with corporates. Corporates support is very good. We are receiving. So that's what iNATUREWATCH is working here in Navi Mumbai.
So, if somebody wants to learn from you, how can they get associated with you?
Actually, see, I am as such. A lot of people keep on sending me WhatsApp message, or they want to send ID. They always keep on sending on my WhatsApp, or maybe on Facebook they send a message. So I'm always available, and I'm always open and accessible. Actually, because I believe that you have to spread your knowledge or share your knowledge. That's very important. Because just sitting tight and with your knowledge and not sharing is very selfish, and it's no fun unless you share. So I'm always there, and iNATUREWATCH now our office is closed unfortunately because of the COVID, but we'll be opening soon again. And we have a staff there to look after, and we conduct a lot of these online courses. We are doing online courses like butterfly for beginners. We teach how to start watching. That's an online course, and I am doing that online course for butterfly beginners. Then we have wildlife gardening also. You can how to attract wildlife in your on your windowsill. In the morning when I have chai, the sunbirds come and they greet me because I have planted some plants which attract butterflies. So I can actually
Wow.
photograph birds and butterflies right from my window now.
Wow.
Today also one
Great.
butterfly came and I could photograph them. So I have planted plants which attract birds and butterflies on my windowsill. So that is an online course we are doing. Then we are doing
Great.
kitchen gardening. So this kind of online courses we do with iNATUREWATCH Foundation.
Okay. So, all the details will be available on the
Yes,
website.
yes, yes. Available
Okay.
on the website. Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
great.
Certainly.
So, guys,
Yes.
if you want to get associated with sir, I will post the link in the description, so you can please have a look at the website and
Yeah.
keep a track of the events and definitely get inspired and learn a little bit about butterflies. This is a very interesting butterfly, so colorful.
Yeah. This butterfly I got it in Khargar only in Navi Mumbai. Actually, what has happened was one tree was actually oozing sap. This is not a flower, and you see that area a little darkened on the right side. It was injured, possibly possibly attacked by another insect from inside. It was oozing sap, and that sweetish sap actually was a little alcoholic, and that was the heady smell was drawing a lot of butterflies. And the Tawny Raja, Black Rajas, and this gaudy baron, this beautiful butterfly called gaudy baron. And as I told you, some butterflies are extremely alcoholics. So this actually, that heady smell was drawing them. And when I reached there, these butterflies were all there sitting, and I could photograph them. So, knowing all that, in Sikkim also, when we were going, we saw a tree where all these oak leaf butterflies were all hovering around it. And I saw the tree sap was oozing out, and all the butterflies, they are not flowers, but on the bark. So that's also important to know. Sometimes this is basically a bonus. Like you're moving, you have to keep on moving in the forest. You can have the best equipment actually, but unless you go out, you'll not get pictures. I know a lot of people who have got the best equipment, but you have to keep on going, keep on going. Sometimes empty-handed you come back, but try again. Yeah.
Right. Please tell us about this.
Yeah, this is the one actually, when I was writing, as I tell, when I was writing the book, I wanted to actually go to different places and actually photograph them, see the butterflies, because writing a book, sitting in the library is so easy. But unless I said I experienced these butterflies myself, there's no fun. And that's the reason I went to Ladakh all the way. First, of course, I had tried different places at Uttaranchal, Uttarakhand. I went. Sometimes I failed actually, as you mentioned earlier in my TED talk. I said that I failed actually. I almost got an Apollo, which was my actually ambition to get that, but I failed it. But next time I went to Khardunga, that was at 18,000 feet, and I finally butterfly sitting right in the front, and I went crazy. This was the Regal Apollo, and but it's a you have to attempt, you have to try to go there. That kind of unless you go out, you'll not get it. So this is what the rewards you get after you try, keep going. And I went to Ladakh after that twice, because in a different season you have to go. And these butterflies are found only during July and August, only 2 months. Then they're gone. So you have to be at the right time. So timing is very important in wildlife photography.
Right.
Seasons, like you go to black buck photography, like black bucks in Gujarat, you have to go during the rutting time, because that's the time they are fearless. They'll come close to you. Otherwise, they'll be far off on you're in infinity. You have to shoot at infinity, but then you'll come almost to your standard lens. You can shoot. So that's the difference of season.
Right.
And this, yeah, yes, tell me.
So, what is the favorite season of the year to shoot butterflies, or you can shoot them all year round?
No. Actually, yes, we have seasons, especially in the hills. Like mainly in Arunachal, in the northeast, the season starts from April. April, May, June is the best time actually. That's the springtime in Himalayas, and Himalayas, the main Himalayas, and then you go more upper, like Ladakh, another region where the alpine zone actually July, August. That's the best time. So all these seasons you have to know, and especially in the Western Ghats, the season is actually August, September, October, November. Of course, in Northeast also you can go after October, November, December also you'll get some. But then as the winter starts, then the butterfly population comes down and diversity is less. So, and some butterflies are seen only once in a year. So that's April, May. So you have to be there at that time. You miss it, you leave it. Then you have to wait for next year. So that is what matters in natural history. Some flowers also will flower only once, like lilies. You see the flowers just few first showers of the monsoon. Once the flowers fade, then you have to wait for another 12 months. So that kind of that kind of learning is very important, and the natural history is very important besides photography.
Right. So when you go to a place, say for example you are going to Sikkim, so do you have a checklist of the butterflies that you are going to shoot, or how do you go about it?
Actually, I make a mental note. Actually, I don't really plan, because the natural history is very difficult to plan. Like you can't write a script. Like as I told you, you have to be own storyteller, own script writer. So you can write a script, but you have a general idea. Okay, I might get this, I might not get. I must try it, but I know where it is found. But whether I'll see it, it's another question. So I will go to an habitat which is most suitable to that species, and it has been recorded. Some people have seen them, some people have photographed them. So I'll try to go there and search for it. I might be lucky, I might not be. So that is what I do that way. Like I keep on checking with other people with photographs, where they were taken, when they were taken. Like I go on Flickr also. Flickr is where you can get the dates of the photographs, when the photograph was taken.
Right.
So that tells you season, when this was taken, where it was taken. So that is now that guides you actually. So I rely on other people's work also, and in which I advise each other. So that helps.
Right.
But every animal and bird has got his own own season, own time when they're the best and they're easily seen. Like this butterfly, I want to photograph this. I tried like mad in Namdafa, Arunachal. I chased like madman. I ran after it. I never got it. Lovely, beautiful butterfly. That's a great windmill. with the long tail and the red spots and the red body. Beautiful. I never got it in Manamdafa. But then I was traveling towards Nainital after photographing in Corbett National Park. I went to Nainital. On the way to Nainital, Pangot, where all these wild flowers, this thistle was flowering. A thistle is the best plant in Himalayas. To just stand by thistle and butterflies will come there. So if you know that this plant is there, you just wait there. And I was waiting and this butterfly came there. And then I just spent another 2 hours just photographing this butterfly like crazy. So, and other butterflies also came. So this is how you get rewarded. But you have to keep on walking also many times. I don't go to tiger reserves because tiger reserves don't allow you to walk.
Right.
So you have to go to places where you are allowed to walk, because in photography and butterfly watching also, unless you walk, you can't get pictures. You can't sit in jeep or a vehicle and photograph butterflies. You have to actually walk. That is important.
So, sir, how do you define a good butterfly picture?
Actually, it has to be comparatively sharper, like this. But this picture even still not very sharp because it was a moving subject. But then finally, it's overall picture right from, and the head has to be sharper compared to the rest of the body. Head, eyes, something has to be sharper more than the body. But then the butterfly is a flat subject actually. So you have to see that your camera is parallel to the butterfly's body. So that your maximum area is in focus. So technically, I would say it has to be, most of the part of the butterfly should be in focus. And if you can avoid the background, if you have that bokeh effect, or avoid with shooting at lower apertures, you might avoid the background also. So that also now a lot of photographers practice that, and it's quite good. If shooting at f8 and f11 is a very good effect you can get with this kind of photography. Yeah.
Right.
And butterfly photography is also, sometimes butterflies look best on flowers actually, more than, they are on the ground also you see, but they are more beautiful when they are together with the flower. So, and with a nice diffused background, it makes a good photography. Yeah.
This is such a lovely picture.
Yes, this was taken in Sikkim. Sikkim is another place where I have been going there almost every year also, because Northeast is a mecca for butterflies. I have to go there at least once in a year. Either Arunachal Pradesh or Assam or Sikkim, I have to be there. And this is a butterfly which is as small as your little finger's nail. It's very small, as a little finger's nail. But that's a golden sapphire. And Sikkim is the best place to photograph this. And and the female is not as bright as this. Female is brown with the orange, but the male is much brighter. And then again, the color. These colors are not real colors. These are structural colors. So the light will play, and the best angle you'll get is very difficult to get that entire golden sheen. Sometimes you get entire black if the light is not properly reflected. So that you have to keep on repeating shot. You have to keep on enough shots. Keep on doing it different angles, shoot at different angles. At different f-stops, underexposed, overexposed. That's very important.
So, how many species of butterfly have you photographed all your life?
Yeah, actually, that's what yesterday a friend of mine, he just told me that he said he has photographed. He has seen his checklist about 500 some odd numbers there. Frankly speaking, I have never counted actually. I never kept a count. That I've seen so many. I don't know why I didn't do that, but I must have seen almost 700 species, 700 to 800 species I've seen so far. But I never actually counted them. Yeah, frankly speaking. I just enjoyed them. Frankly speaking, I just enjoyed it. I didn't do for butterflies counting or to show or to. It was my own happiness, because butterflies took me to places where the stage of happiness that I had never reached, and it helped me to discover myself also. When I wrote books, people recognized me. So butterflies have given me a lot actually, frankly speaking.
Right. So you have shot approximately about 800 different species of butterfly. Now, suppose I ask for a picture from for a particular species. So how is your file organization? How will you be able to find out that butterfly? I'm curious to know about that.
Yeah, correct. I have organized that. See, now the problem is digitally you have to organize. So I have organized them according to families actually. That I've done.
Okay.
Because writing a book, you have to be organized. And you have to. So I've done into families like swallowtail groups. The butterflies are divided into 6 families. So I have done them. I would separate them according to families. And according to my book page number, actually, I have put the photographs them accordingly. So I can refer my book also, and accordingly I can find the image also. So that's how I've done it. So and another thing is this digital, you have to back up your images. You have to be very, very careful with this your external drives, because if they crash, if you fall down, you are gone. So
Yeah,
now, of course, you have your cloud and other things. So you have to be careful. Yes.
yeah, I remember somebody stole your hard drive from your office some
Yes,
time
yes,
back.
yes, yes, yes. I lost one hard drive from my office. It's very sad that somebody could do that to me. I never expected that, but it happened. It was not in BNHS, but in my new office. Because that was an insurance. I was sharing office with an insurance agent. A lot of people used to come and go on and off, and used to remain open for odd hours. So my cabin was never locked, and It was my misfortune that I forgot that drive. Before I kept it in drawer and forgot. I didn't take it. I bring it back with me. And next day it was gone. So that was my bad luck. But luckily I had a backup actually. I never keep my images in one drive actually, never. I keep it in now 4 drives I keep. You have to
Great.
get paranoid actually for that.
Yes.
That losing
Yes.
image, you can lose anyway. If somebody will stole,
Right.
even if
Right.
somebody is not stealing it, you might actually drop your drive and that drive will just crash and refuse to budge. You're gone. So that's very
So,
important.
right. So you organize your files based on the family, and then
Families.
inside that you have subfolders also,
Folders,
is
yeah.
it?
Then the folders are there according to the page numbers of my book actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so no, I got a book to refer. Like, okay, I want this, so I know which page I have to go. So I have to organize according to 1, 2, 3, 4, plate number, plate 1, plate 2, plate 3. So I organize. So that book helped me to file, automatically with corresponding with my, and I get new images. I keep on adding to my original pictures there in those files,
Okay.
those folders.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that I organized. But I've made these folders. Then I've got the folders of habitats. I got folders of early stages also of butterflies, caterpillars. There are different folders for that. So this you have to organize yourself because you keep on getting pictures and keep on dumping your images in the drive. Then you are in total chaos or mess. So you have to organize your images. Are very important.
Right. Right.
And also I organize according to the geographic area, like Ladakh is there, Sundarbans or Corbett National Park. So I have images in the geographic areas also and in my other files also. So they are in 2, 3 places that way. This is
Okay.
again another beautiful image you are showing is the sapphire, the azure sapphire is from Nagaland actually. Nagaland, I was there, and Nagaland also is an amazing place and lovely people there. And some of the rare butterflies you see, the green dragon trails, which I had never seen before. This is the sapphire, blue sapphire, azure sapphire I found there. And again, this is a structural color. The color doesn't exist, but the scales, if you examine the scales of butterflies, they look like roof tiles. And those scales actually refract this colors and amazing, and a slight here and there you might lose this color. So photographing, you have to check the angles. Angles are very important. And then if you're using a natural light or using a flashlight, again for macro photography you have to use a lot of flashlight because you have to get more depth of field, and it freezes
Right.
your actual shake also. It avoids your
Right.
shake, I found. Yeah.
Right. So
Yes.
the butterflies don't get disturbed by the flashlight. That
Not
does not.
really. Some people go to get worried. Like I'd be to some place, they say, no, don't put flash. It'll blind. It's not really true. Actually, it is. You can very well use a flash, and they're used to that kind of lights and bright lights, so it doesn't affect their. Of course, they don't have the kind of the sensitivity what we have, and they don't have the kind of apertures like we have. Our eyes have apertures, so it's different structure at all. So you not worry about that. Like people get anthropomorphic actually sometimes. Like I was in Andamans when a turtle came and started laying eggs, and I started photographing. So some people started object, oh, she's delivering, don't photograph. It's nothing. It's for her. She's delivering, she's giving eggs. It's not, you can't compare it to a human delivery. Like it's not painful or something like that, or she's shrieking or something. It's not that. It's different. So but people have anthropomorphic feeling towards animals, or so that you have to realize that some things don't occur. You can't apply that kind of same feelings to it. So, yeah.
And how much of post processing do you apply to your pictures, and what
Actually, I
software
have
do you use?
I see 50%. Your photography is in the camera in the field, and 50% almost I would say you got to go home and do it actually. And I use Adobe Photoshop. I got a proper legal version. I paid for it, legal version of Adobe Photoshop, and I use it very judiciously for all my picture processing it. Yeah, of course I use Picasa also. Picasa is when I have to upload for our Facebook, then I use Picasa. But when I want to use for book, I use Adobe Photoshop. And Adobe Photoshop is excellent.
Right. So how much time, say for example, for a picture like this, how much time would you take to edit a picture?
Actually, it depends on sometimes I don't remove too much areas. I don't add anything. Like I believe that some things you can't manipulate. I don't manipulate too much, but basically I see the sharpness is important. Sharpness is important, and then bring out certain color which is maybe is hidden, is not seen here. So you might try to bring out, but I will not overdo it, because overdoing also is not correct. Because
Right.
if you're writing
Right.
a book, your picture should depict what it actually occurs in nature. So you can't overdo it also. So I keep it to minimum area, but usually sharpness, I see that sharpness is there, and cropping is important. And usually I save them in TIFF files, not JPEG but TIFF files, and I shoot in RAW. All my shooting is in RAW files. Yeah.
Great.
So it doesn't take much. It takes about maybe about 15 minutes for one picture. Yeah,
Okay.
I would
Okay.
say. Yeah, yeah,
And suppose you go to a place like Arunachal, so
yeah.
and you shoot butterflies. Now butterflies are always flying around. So do you use the multiple shot mode, the burst mode, or do you just take single pictures? How do
No, no.
you
I,
go?
I usually go for single pictures only, because I wait. I give them enough time to settle, because I want a proper picture. I don't want to grab pictures. I want a proper picture, frame them, compose them, and I'll wait. I might lose it also at times, but I don't run after them. But I give them time. I work with sort of giving a comfort zone. I make them feel comfortable, so they get used to me also many times, and then they'll allow me. They'll even sit on me later on. Like recently, there have been quite a lot of people taking a butterfly in their hand and photographing it. They have been doing it in Sikkim and in Assam nowadays. There have been all these Facebook people. A lot of people have been doing it, and now they're gone
Right.
into record. Guinness Book of Records, that maximum butterflies are taken on hand. People are there in
Oh my
Arunachal. Yeah. So the
God.
butterflies, you can see the butterflies will come and sit on your hand, and they sit on nose. So you can imagine that kind of proximity you can get. Imagine. So that is possible, unless you have that kind of patience slowly. And butterflies will sit on you because your hands are sweaty.
Oh.
That also will attract butterflies. Yeah.
Right.
Or you have got
So
a
yeah.
sweaty socks, so your smelly socks will attract butterflies. Like you remove your shoes, or sometimes they'll sit on your shoes because your socks are smelly. So you
Okay.
don't know where they'll sit on you.
Okay.
But it doesn't make a
So
good picture, but of course.
great. So, sir, if somebody wants to get started with butterfly photography, so what is the minimum equipment that is required?
Yeah, I think one good DSLR camera, one good flash, affordable flash or built-in flash. For photography, for butterfly photography, actually you don't need an extra flash. A built-in flash is good enough. And then if you can, you have budget for macro lens, maybe original Nikon or Canon, or then you can go for Sigma, maybe start with 90 mm, or if you can afford more than 180 mm, 180 mm, which I have here. Now, what I have is 180 mm here. So this is a good lens for butterfly photography, 180 mm. But if your budget doesn't fit, then you can go for 90 mm. But 50
Okay.
mm is too small. You have to go very close to the butterfly. So, and it disturbs. But this longer lens means you get a working distance
Right.
without disturbing the butterfly. You can shoot at up. So the probability of getting a shot with a long macro lens is a lot more than a shorter macro lens. But macro lenses are expensive nowadays. So if you can save for that, a good macro lens is just and built-in flash. No need for extra flash also. I have the extra flash, but you don't have to use extra flash, because this camera doesn't have a flash, built-in flash. The D
Right.
850 doesn't
Okay.
have a built-in flash. Otherwise, my
Right.
other camera, 5300, they have built-in flash. So I've been using built-in flash. They're good enough. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
And I don't use the ring flash so far, because I've used once on time, but ring flash is very delicate. You can't use in the field. And field, you have to be really, you have to go in ditches, you have to sleep on the ground, you roll in the muck sometimes to get the pictures. And I believe that getting pictures like this is a Jezebel, this is the hill Jezebel from Sikkim, and they were in the stream, water stream, and I had to sleep in the stream to get that eye level shot. I was wet almost in that stream. But
Wow.
to get, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people I see, they use knee pads also, shoulder pads on the knee pads, both the knee pads they use it, so that they can go down on their knees and photograph. But that's the best way to photograph and get this eye level shots. Very important.
Right.
Yes.
And is it advisable to wear camo t-shirts when shooting the
Uh,
butterflies? Do they
Not
really get
really.
bothered?
Uh, Preferably dull colors, yes. Preferably dull colors, because your sudden movement up and down, they can detect your movement actually. But bright colors will certainly will reveal you more easily than those camo colors. So camo colors are preferred in nature. It's better to play shades of grays and browns or camo colors. So better that way. Yeah. Yes.
Right. So, which
And
was your most difficult butterfly to catch?
Actually, difficult butterfly to catch. Yeah. Actually, this butterfly, which I was showing earlier, that was that. It's not here actually. I don't know whether I gave it to that. That was dragon tail butterflies actually. Dragon tail butterflies I have not given you possibly. Those are
Okay.
dragon tail butterflies are found in the green dragon tail, especially which is found in the Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh areas. Those dragon tails, and those I had read in the book actually. We're sitting in the BNHS library. I used to do my homework there. So there I read in the Winter Blythe's book the dragon tails, and they are so dainty little butterflies, and they look like dragonflies only. You'll mistake for dragonflies. And I had fantasized that I must go there and photograph them. That was my dream. And then finally, when the dream came true, I was shivering with excitement when I actually saw the dragon tail right in my front. And
Wow.
I was and I was shivering with excitement actually when the dragon tail was come, and it was actually mud puddling on a water. So that was my excitement, and that is my favorite butterfly actually.
Okay.
But
Great.
another thing is my favorite butterfly. If you go to is a oak leaf butterfly. Oak leaf.
Okay.
Oak leaf is a butterfly which is open. It has a brilliant blue or orange colors inside, and close it looks like a leaf. It's an amazing way to show that how nature sculpts. Nature has sculpted the butterfly for the survival, and it's amazing. So that is my favorite butterfly. I could get,
Okay.
even in Mumbai we get this butterfly, right in New Bombay we get, and then you
Okay.
go to Himalayas, you'll get the orange oak leaf there. So that's amazing.
I remember going to Arunachal Pradesh, and we found a butterfly like that. And our guide was telling us, just see this butterfly. And then we were asking, where is the butterfly? It looks exactly like the leaf.
Correct.
It was
It's so well camouflaged. Yeah, amazing. Nature sculpts so well. It's amazing.
right.
So that's my favorite butterfly actually. Oak leaf. Yes.
Oak leaf butterfly. Okay.
Yeah. And this is a butterfly, the Malabar, banded peacock. It's an endemic to Western Ghats, found only in Western Ghats. And the colors you see, my God. And we were there last October. I was there in Karnataka with Samilan Shetty's Butterfly Park there, and we went out in the forest. And it was in somebody's garden actually, where these are wild plants actually, this flowers, but they were on somebody's garden. And we had to request this fellow. He allowed us, and we were there for nearly 2 hours photographing this butterfly. Out of several
Wow.
shots, I got few, of course, and to freeze it with with the movement and all that. But colors, my God, and you never know how the time passes while shooting. You are framing a butterfly, trying to photograph, and amazing. So butterfly takes you a different world actually. It tells you this photography. Yes, I mean, you're photographing something. It detaches you from your stress levels, your problems, everything. It detaches, and you are in a different paradise. So that is the
Right.
fun of photography. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So, does your family also joins you for
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. Of
trips?
course, yeah, of course. My
Oh,
sons also are quite creative, and my, of course, younger son actually he goes into this small model cars actually, and he's using his photography of using lightning and all that to making them look real. So he is quite artistic. Even my elder son also is quite artistic. In fact, my book he has designed my book, and he's quite artistic. Yeah, he's
great.
an artist himself actually. He did his
Great.
art graduation.
Great.
So,
I'm
and they are,
sure.
yeah, both, all my family, everybody, basically everybody is very much keen into nature, and we do enjoy nature as such.
Great.
That's the
Great.
fun part, yeah.
This is a very interesting butterfly.
Yes, yes, that is the leopard lacewing for photograph in Namdafa, Arunachal Pradesh. Yeah, very beautiful. This also I had seen it in we had one World Wildlife Fund book. One foreigner had come to India, and that's the time he had photographed this butterfly, and I was so amazed with this butterfly. I said, "Why, my God, where he got this butterfly?" And that he was in Northeast India, and that was my dream actually. To that time, I said I must go and photograph this, and finally, when I went to Arunachal Pradesh, I finally got this butterfly, and it's amazing. The colors and the design is so amazing. And here I could actually, I don't practice much of composition, but I do try to do that kind of the kind of soft effect behind, and then you try to compose it. So that I do. And of course you can do composing later also. When you come back home on your laptop, you can do your composing. But now you have got so many tools available in Photoshop
Right.
and other such programs which helps you. So today photography is in a golden age actually. I see a lot more luckier than what we were earlier. Like we had to really struggle hard. No lenses, no equipment. Now equipment is easily, software is available. You can,
True.
and platforms are available to share your, like I share my pictures on Flickr also. They have my I have my uh, account there. So it's, and I share with the entire world there. And then we have Facebook now. So that's very important.
Great.
It's a golden age for butterfly, for photography actually.
Great. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll continue this session. We have a couple of more pictures, and if you have any questions, you can please type in the comments.
Yeah,
Sir,
sure.
happy to answer the questions. And yeah, if you want to, we are doing a lot of these shows like this. So if you want to get associated, you can just click on the subscribe button below, so you can get updates on our next event. So we will continue with the next picture.
Yes,
So
sure.
this is such a lovely picture. In fact, I was staring it for so long, and to realize, wow, there's so much of colors and textures, so much here.
Yeah, in real life, if you see, they're all, hairy caterpillars. You normally don't like it, hairy caterpillars, you distaste it. But then, you compose it in a such a way that, that I found them together, and they are actually all together on a leaf, and then unity is strength, because they alone, they will also get eaten up by birds. But when they stay together, birds also will think twice. So this is how the strategy works in nature. So they're together. I found this composition very interesting, and I went close up actually with a macro shot to close in, corner to corner, and photographed it. So I love this composition like that, the pattern in nature, like, amazing. So these kind of patterns you have to identify, when you're going in, and nature is so inspiring, and so much of, and butterflies, the wing designs, the forms in nature, leaves, everything, bark, whatever you name it, and so much of inspiring, and it takes you to a different world actually.
Right. So where was this taken?
This was actually taken in Mumbai itself. It's here in Sanjay Gandhi National Park.
Okay.
In Mumbai, yeah. Because in this season only, in monsoon only, when the caterpillar, there are plenty of caterpillars. Left and right, you'll see caterpillars everywhere. And this is where I saw on a leaf sitting, all tight group was sitting, and I photographed it with a tight close up.
Okay. So is it still open, the Sanjay Gandhi National Park?
No, now because of the COVID, it's not open.
Yeah.
So everything is shut now. So some people do keep on going here and there, but otherwise, officially, it's not open as such.
Okay, I stay just outside the gate of.
Oh, really? So you should know better.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So.
Yeah, that's a mecca actually. I've been going to Sanjay Gandhi National Park. That's a nursery where I learned my natural history and my photography. Is Sanjay Gandhi National Park. I used to travel all the way from. I used to stay at Devnar. I used to travel all the way to Devnar to Borivali to go to Sanjay Gandhi National Park to photograph. And that time I was hunting for this moon moth. It took me 7-8 years to get that moon moth in Borivali National Park. And Atlas moth also is found there.
Right.
Yes.
Great.
And yeah, that's the magic of nature. It's a magic. The butterfly is second life of butterfly after when it emerges from that pupa, and it's so wonderful, that experience. And this you have to keep on watching. This butterfly was to emerge. I knew a night before, the colors darken, and then you start realizing, yes, we have to photograph next morning. But next morning when it emerged, so I woke up at 2 in the morning, 2 in the middle of the night, and I was focused and kept on watching it and having my cup of tea, and I kept on, and it emerged at 7 o'clock. Then later on, I got this short sequence here. I got an entire sequence now of this beautiful butterfly emerging from that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and that amazing. It's so amazing. The depicting, and I could use it for a book also, like how the butterfly actually emerges, share with people. Yes.
Right. Beautiful.
Yes, Ladakh. That is Ladakh, Sindhu, and Ladakh is an amazing place, and it's good for photographers. Landscape pictures, amazing landscapes are amazing there, and there are no trees there. Trees actually go below your knees. They don't grow above your knees, and but even there also there are wildlife. And I had gone there to actually, as I told you, for the one butterfly called Apollo. It flies at about 10,000 feet, and I had to see this butterfly. Finally, I saw it in Ladakh.
Right. So,
tell me. Yeah. It's a photographer's paradise. Ladakh is a photographer's paradise for landscape especially.
Right. So when you are going with an intention of shooting butterflies, do you also shoot some other species as well?
Yes. I always open my, I shot a lot of other stuff with my macro lens. So I carry one macro lens. I don't carry tele and other thing because it becomes too heavy. So sometimes what I shoot butterfly with the tele macro lens, I shoot the same lens I use for my wildlife also. But if I get a lovely picture of a wildlife, I'll never lose the opportunity. And everything fascinates me. Anything.
Right.
Whatever. And India is so, you get everything in India. You got land of the tiger, you see, and the kind of, you see so many things which other countries don't have, this kind of diversity what we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This was in Nubra Desert, in Ladakh. And desert in Himalayas is amazing. And those double hump camels there. And it was amazing to see, this was the time when the Alexander came in this area, and the Mongolian traders used to come. The same, they came and went and left the camels behind, these bacterian camels.
Right. So do you also find some butterflies here in this?
Yes, that's the reason. I would have never have gone here.
Okay.
I was there for butterflies, because there are again different species of butterflies in that high altitude, in dry places. But yes, there are butterflies also, and butterflies are specialists. They will stay only here. You take them in forest, they'll die.
Great.
And that's the Himalayas, of course. Himalayas is my favorite place to go. And, I tell everybody that you have once at least to visit Himalayas. That's a humbling, experience to see these huge mountains and the beauty. It's amazing. Yeah. And we are so lucky that we have our Himalayas. Absolutely. It's where it's also where the rivers are born, and fresh water is so much important to us. So it's not for birds and butterflies, it's for our future. We need this all. We have to protect not for birds and butterflies. So this beauty is there to protect, to support us. It's a support system.
Right.
And this is in Eastern Himalayas. They were taken when I was gone to Eagle Nest Wildlife Sanctuary in Arunachal Pradesh. So in the Eastern Himalayas. Yeah. And the Sahyadris, of course, the Western Ghats are unique. So many of rivers are born here in this system also, and so much of unique ecosystem. Some of the wild animals, birds, plants found here are found only in this system, nowhere else in the world. So that makes this system very unique. The Sahyadris, from south of Gujarat to Kerala and Tamil Nadu. So amazing places we have in India.
Absolutely.
So these kind of landscapes, always, I'm not very, I'm very, basically, I have taken this also a habitats picture actually. When I photograph butterfly, I also want to tell a story about where they're found, how they're found. So that helps me actually. All these pictures help me to tell my story.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Rhododendrons.
Rhododendrons, yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah. If you happen to be in Himalayas, right from April onward, April to June, you'll see the entire Himalaya ablaze with these colors, Right from Kashmir to Arunachal Pradesh. Amazing. That's. And we have so many of varieties of rhododendrons in the Himalayas. And then, of course, we have several varieties of flowers and, of Himalayan flowers flowering in July, August. It's, photographer's paradise.
Right. Very beautiful.
India is truly a photographer's paradise. But besides, it was earlier known for, of course, for culture and other things. But the kind of naturality we have, I think few countries can boast of this kind of naturality. We have got so much diversity. We have got deserts, mountains, seas, islands, you name it, and we have it. So we have the diversity. Look at these orchids. Especially March, April, you go to Northeast or in Sahyadris, you'll find these orchids there flowering. Something so beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Northeast is the home of orchids. And of course, some of the fungi, I find this fungi very, very, very so beautiful. It's edible also, but it stinks. It stinks so much that it attracts flies to to collect the spores and take away and spread the spores. So some of the flowers also stink to attract flies. So this fungus also attracts flies to take the spores away, and it stinks. So that's a strategy. They don't smell nice. They don't have nice fragrance, but they stink like shit, I would say.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And that's the forest of Arunachal Pradesh, Namdafa. People say it's from Brazil. I said, no, it's not Amazon. It's our own Arunachal Pradesh. It's not Amazon forest, but Namdafa. And it's a huge forest, dark, dense forest. And hornbills, you can see them, so much variety, my God. It's that kind of diversity we have, and we are lucky that that's in our own country.
Absolutely.
But of course, yeah, but we have a big responsibility. We have to preserve it also, this to posterity, yeah.
Right.
And photographing butterflies took me to every corner, and actually you'll be surprised. Before butterflies, I was in love with reptiles actually. Yeah. Before, when I joined BNHS, I was very much love in reptiles, and I used to photograph snakes, reptiles. So that was part of my love. That's a gharial from Corbett National Park, and that also took me to different places for reptiles. But butterflies, of course, are a different story. And in Sundarbans, crocodile, my God, the saltwater crocodile there. And you see 10 feet. I went to Malaysia once, and they took me in the middle of the night to see the crocodiles. And they showed me two tiny eyes and shining, and they said, that's a crocodile in Malaysia. I said, come to India, I'll show you in daytime, a crocodile sitting there.
Mm.
So I said, with the kind of wildlife we have, is possibly elsewhere it is all eaten and gone. There are no tiger in other places. Like we have tiger, like you can see a 10 feet in India. Nowhere in the world else in the world you can see a 10-feet tiger in open gypsy. Only in India you can see that.
Right.
And
So when was
sorry,
right? So
yeah,
when
tell me.
was your love for butterflies awakened? I mean, from these reptiles
Yeah,
to
yeah. As
butterflies.
I told you, when I was in BNHS, I was doing then Bittu Sehgal when he was doing a story on for Sanctuary magazine. So he asked me to do a story on butterflies, and that was and I had a good planted plants in my balcony and in my garden. So I started rearing the caterpillars there and photographing them. So that actually started, and then this World Wildlife came. They read the story in the Sanctuary magazine. They said, "Why don't you do a book?" So that caught up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. But by then I started photographing butterflies. I had left everything and started butterflying because, uh, of course, reptiles also fascinate me. But butterflies had got different, kind of appeal.
Right. So as you rightly said, the caterpillar within you, I mean, got awakened, and then you started flying like a butterfly.
Yeah, obviously, it took me off. It took me off, and I could really, with those wings, I could really explore India and to
Right.
see India. I had never seen India that much. The butterfly showed me India.
Great. Great.
And this is also Corbett National Park. Actually, we saw this python there in the water. An amazing, amazing time. This was to see this huge reptile there in the Corbett National Park. And we have got some lovely national parks actually. Whatever you say, some of the best places to see a national park. I've been to Africa also, but the fun in seeing the tiger and the other wildlife, the suspense that you have in India is different. When a tiger comes, the kind of calls come in the forest every, and finally the tiger walks in. That kind of suspense you'll never experience anywhere in the forest. That
Right.
never, like,
Right.
so I have stopped going in different other foreign countries. I've seen Africa, but okay, but there's the giraffe is going to come, and the zebra is going to come, and the wildebeest and the lion is going to attack. But that
Right.
tiger, coming tiger, my God, people, it's a different experience. See, I
Mm.
ask people, have you looked into the tiger's eyes? Have you met it's a different experience. Then you are never the same again. So आप कभी आंख मिला है क्या टाइगर से आपने? एक बार
Right.
आंख मिलाओ.
Mm. Great.
Of course, there's Sundarbans. Sundarbans is another place, exotic. But of course, I was there to a different reason in Sundarbans. There is one butterfly called white tiger, a very small butterfly, like a striped tiger, but the hind wings are white, and that is found only in Sundarbans and Odisha, in the mangroves. And that's why I was looking for, but this butterfly. But I can't ignore when nice brown wing kingfisher sits in front of me. How can I ignore? So with my macro lens, I shot this.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
And then I was in Bandhavgarh actually. Bandhavgarh, when afternoon the tiger safaris stop. In afternoon you have to come back for lunch. So what do you do in the afternoon? So you take your camera and start moving around in your resort only. And I could photograph this with again a macro shot, same lens I use for butterfly. The birds very confiding. They came very close, and I could photograph this flycatcher, Tickle's flycatcher. So I always enjoy photography. Is not butterflies, of course, fascinate me, but nature is always there too. So much of the canvas is very big actually.
Right. Right.
That's another beautiful flycatcher. The monarch, black cap monarch, is another beautiful flycatcher. And these are insectivorous birds. You'll be surprised that insectivores are important for our agriculture because they control the insect population, and that
Right.
will help us to not to use more pesticides because pesticides don't kill insects; they finally
Mm.
kill us.
Right.
So you have to be
Right.
careful of when using pesticides. So obviously, every part of India has been wonderful experience for me, and every part is so vivid in my memory.
Right.
And the photography is, when looking at the photograph, bring back all my memories and how I got my shots.
Right. Right.
And that's so the elephants in Corbett's. Corbett is the best place to photograph. Of course, we have South India also, Madhumala and other places, of course, or Bandipur. But Corbett, the kind of landscape you have, especially go in May, month of May, and that kind of landscape you get, and the elephants come down there, then the grassland. That's the best time to photograph elephants. So I remember when one of my another photographer friend, Hira Punjabi, he used to go to Corbett often, and he used to photograph elephants. So I'd seen his images, and I was incidentally there in Corbett. So I said, okay, let's photograph. I'd gone for butterfly photography around Corbett, but I said, okay, I could photograph this also. And
Great.
it's amazing to see these gentle giants.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And then again in Arunachal, this was in Assam actually. This is the on Manas, the border of Manas and actually Bhutan. These uh, golden langurs are found there. It's a rare, very rare, and found only in that region only, in border of Assam and Bhutan. And so beautiful animal. This is beautiful. Just you have to look into this gentle eyes, and it's more milder than the other our common langurs.
Okay.
Very beautiful. Yes, yes, amazing. And Arunachal, this northeast as such is so diverse, and the kind of is birds, butterflies, insects, you name it, and flowers is amazing. So, and people, culture, tribals, my God, the kind of tribal culture is there so diverse in
Right.
Arunachal, Nagaland is amazing, and that diversity is rare actually, so much.
Right. And still very much unexplored.
Yes, very much unexplored. Very true, very true. Yes. And of course, our rhino again in Kaziranga. I got this Kaziranga pictures, and there are so many rhinos. The moment I entered, there of rhino left and rhino right, there are plenty. But that's again, of course, rhinos now we have different places also. But that's very important animal, which possibly very precariously surviving with so much pressure on this, trying to kill it just for the horn.
Right.
Yeah, that's very sad. But yes,
Sad.
yes. And of course, I was in Sundarbans not for this tiger. I was for the white tiger, as I told you. But incidentally, it came and just, it was looking at us. And we were in the boat. In Sundarbans, you're not allowed to walk.
Right.
So all the photographers were sitting in the boat. And this tiger came and looked at us like we were a plate of gulab jamuns, with big, big eyes looking at us. But those tigers are different. Sundarban tigers are not tigers you see in Tadoba or in in Bandhavgarh. You can see an open gypsy, but these tigers are different. And this is a Sundarban tiger, the Royal Bengal tiger.
Right.
Yes. But of course, yeah, amazing animal.
You must have been extremely lucky because not many people are able to see tigers there.
Yeah, I tell people that if you want to photograph tiger, don't go to Sundarbans, because Sundarban is not a place. Because this is my 7th or 8th time I'd gone to Sundarbans, I got it. It's not easy to see. You're right, very true. It's very difficult to see tiger in Sundarbans. You'll get bored sometimes because you have to keep on searching. Sometimes you get nothing in Sundarbans except some crabs like I got here. I'll show.
Yeah.
You'll not get tigers, but you'll get crabs. So
And this is you.
yeah, yes. This is me. Some people have been photographing me like Shamil and Shetty or Spunky Sood or Shubha Lakshmi when I was in Bhutan or in Great Himal National Park or even in wildlife, this butterfly park. I was there with my favorite lens. You can see this over years. I've used this lens. Almost 10 years I've used this lens. Sigma.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very, very sturdy lens. It's fallen a couple of times also from my hand, but survived. And I could still use it very well.
Great. So great, sir. It was so lovely going through your pictures.
Thank you.
Really, it was such an inspiring journey that you shared with us, and very inspiring. So, guys, if you want to learn more about butterflies, so you must visit the sir's website. I'm going to post it in the link. So, thank you so much for joining us. I am going to quickly just check if we have any questions from.
Yeah, sure. You can ask me. Yeah.
There are a lot of comments. Yeah, but I can't see any questions here. But I think you were very open to give us a lot of information.
Yes,
so kind of you, sir.
Yeah, I believe in sharing. Yeah.
Great. So thank you so much once again, sir. And probably I'll meet you soon sometime once this COVID thing is over.
Most welcome.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. You are in Mumbai, so we should